I really do intend to speak from the heart. And to start off, I want to tell you about a day. Back in 1998, it was in June, and I was 36 years old, so you can do the math. And I had just moved into an apartment over off UCF Boulevard, Mission Bay Apartments. And you heard a little while ago that I'd sold my home. So here I was at 36 years old with a 3-year-old in an apartment. And on this particular day, my son and I had headed out, and we were heading to the construction site. So you can see here, this was in the very beginning, and that says opening May 1998. Well, we didn't open in May, but we opened in 1998. But so we were heading out to the construction site. It was a couple of months before we were going to open. And what I did was I went there to check with the crew, but I also went there to sit in the construction trailer and sign up possible enrollments. So it was real important that I did that because I couldn't afford to wait until the doors opened to have people tour. So pre-enrollments was really important. So anyway, Roland and I head out the door, and we see my car. It was like a 6-year-old Mazda 626, dark green. It's also up here, right there. And he says, "Mom, they did it again." And I said, "What?" And I looked, and sure enough, I couldn't believe it. Somebody had stolen my hubcaps. It wasn't on the surface a big deal, but it wasn't the first time that had happened since I had moved into Mission Bay. It wasn't even the second time that had happened. It was the 3rd week I had been in Mission Bay Apartments, and it was the 3rd time somebody had stolen the full set of hubcaps. So he and I, of course, at that point, we both start crying. You know, it was not a good day. However, what I came to realize years and years later was that was probably the first day, once I had really gotten past the point of no return in my business, which you all can probably relate to in terms of your business, that I thought, I don't know if I can do this. It's not easy. And on that particular day, the other thing that went through my head was, who in their right mind is going to entrust their child to a person that has no building to show, entrust their child to a woman that has no hubcaps? Well, luckily, so there I was, you know, back to hubcap heaven and trying to find the cheapest pair I can. But anyway, turned out, fast forward, we ended up opening with the most pre-enrollments that franchisor had seen to that point. But when we opened, but the reason why I tell you that little story is not because of the stupid hubcaps, but because throughout your time as a business owner, if you don't have at least this many days that you say to yourself, I don't know if I can do this, then maybe you're not in it enough. But I know that for me, there were many, many days. After I had been in business for 5 years, I had a little epiphany about loyalty, and I had gotten away for a few days, and let's face it, that doesn't hurt. Getting away for a few days allows you to be a little bit more creative and think outside the box. And I realized I need a client loyalty program. Now, part of that is because, yeah, of course, I want my clients to be loyal, but let's not kid ourselves. I'm going to get to the competitive part next. I had a ton of competition. If anybody knows that area in that side of Orlando, it grew quite exponentially for a few years, and the competition was fierce. So in order to show appreciation, which was from the heart, and you can't fake that, I came up with a loyalty program that was pretty sophisticated. And the best loyalty program is when folks don't even know it's their anniversary, and you greet them on the phone or with a gift certificate for their family or whatever it is, with something acknowledging their anniversary, and they go, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it was my anniversary. That is a very cool thing to bring to somebody. So that was one thing we did, but it would include breakfast tickets and a t-shirt and a complimentary vacation week. That may sound like an oxymoron, but it's not. And and complimentary weeks as well. So I made it stick. I made it have some value, and that made an impact on parents. For just a moment, I want you to ask yourself, you know, are you competitive? And I know at times when somebody will say that to me, kind of casually, like, I don't know, are you competitive? And I go, well, I don't know. Am I? I don't know. But, or darn right, you know. But I don't, when it comes to business, you better be competitive, because if you're not being competitive in terms of growing, in terms of restructuring your business and being creative and other things, then, you know, I'm sure Warren Buffett has some great, you know, great quote for that, but you're losing traction if you're not competitive. And the thing about being competitive is that you have to do it in advance. If you do it after it's too late, then guess what? It's too late. I learned a thing or two about being competitive because, so there I was in the middle, and then as you can see, it looks like a bullseye. And that is probably about half of the competitors that came over that period. So I had specific strategies that once I started dissecting them, I realized I had some patterns to that, and so that's what I'm going to share with you. But these are multiple really good competitors as well. Large early childhood, high quality, great staff, great owners. So there were times when I had to dig really deep to figure out what I was going to do next. So when I saw that I was going to have some pretty serious competition, I decided to go big. And fortunately, I had bought a property that had quite a bit of acreage, like 3 acres, when generally you need 1.5 acres. So I had never intended to expand. That was the last thing I was thinking about, but I decided to expand. So here I went again with another loan and through that whole challenging process. However, it was the smartest thing I did for many reasons. But the reason why I put it in the competitive slide is because of this. What I knew was that I had clients that heard no from my front desk, that heard no from me. No, I'm sorry, we don't do that. No, I'm sorry, I wish I could offer part-time, but we're full. Or those kinds of things. I'm super happy that you're now having a second child and want to stay home for 6 months, but I don't have a part-time program. So it was bad. I hated it. I honestly think I would have done that regardless. But when somebody's, more than one somebody, is breathing down your neck and you know they're coming, you want to make sure you don't say no to your clients, but you say absolutely.